Thanks for checking out my video. If you want to learn more from me, I have a lot of classes on Udemy. You can find the links to a lot of those in the description. Alright, welcome back to the Goddess series. This is episode 7 on love, compassion, and union. I got Morgan chilling right here, and maybe she'll turn and look at the camera. Who knows? Still trying to understand her personality, but she is very snuggly, so at least I know that. So, the goddess doesn't just heal or empower. You learn to love as she loves, fully, fiercely, and without conditions. So, even though it's saying without conditions, there is still boundaries with that. And one of the things that I want you to think about with this kind of stuff is tough love. Because, you know, you might love yourself enough to put some boundaries between you and someone else. You might love yourself enough to, give yourself rules about different things, like stuff with dieting or just where you go and what you do. So through her, you experience union with yourself, with others, and with the divine. So, I mentioned in the last video in the series about the anima animus, so that we're probably going to touch into that. And there's even, you can step into things like the Gnostic concept of finding the union with that spark of Sophia within yourself. And this isn't just for men to, unite with the divine feminine, because that's the other half. In Gnostic thought, and even in all the stuff that my lady and I have been talking about, it's union with the divine feminine first, because the divine masculine is the go here and do this thing, but the divine feminine is in all the different myths and stories the vehicle of transformation, let's say. So this is the heart of spiritual embodiment, where magic becomes alive in relationships, energy work, and life itself. Remember, magic isn't just a tool. It's not a hammer needs nail kind of thing. Magic is a living energy, right? It's not just I flick the light switch and the light comes on. It's much deeper and more embodied than that. I think I got a cat hair. So, I want to make sure that I can read these notes. Sometimes they shrink and stuff, and I want to have to scroll back and forth. It probably look kind of annoying for you guys. But the goddess as embodiment of compassion. Goddesses like Kuan Yin, the Tara, and Aphrodite model unconditional love, teaching us how to nurture and hold energy without attachment. So even holding our emotions rather than acting on them, processing them, having compassion when you're feeling great, embodying that and really feeling that, and even having compassion for yourself when you're having a hard time. Compassion is an active force. It's not passive. Laying under blankets to have compassion for yourself isn't a passive thing. It moves through the thought, intention, and action. So practitioners and people cultivate emotional intelligence, healing presence, and energy that strengthens their magic. So compassion also amplifies intuition, because when the heart softens, psychic senses open more fully. We are so taught to be up here and analyze our problems and think our way through stuff rather than feel our way through stuff. When I believe that there's neural tissues in the heart, if I remember right, and I remember reading more recently there's neural tissues in the gut. You ever talk about thinking with your gut? You have that gut feeling. That's because there's literally um the same kind of structures down here, probably not as many or dispersed and differently structured than there are in the brain. But that's why we can get a gut feeling about stuff, or when your heart knows something. And I believe in the last video in the series, I talked about how, we think way too much up here, and the job is to drop down, descend like an Anna from here down to here, and then go back up, because we're uniting the head with the heart. Let's see. Next point. Many spiritual traditions frame the inner work as balancing yin and yang, masculine and feminine, anima and animus, receptive and projective energies. The feminine is receptive, the masculine is projective. The goddess guides this integration, helping the practitioner harmonize assertiveness with flow, strategy, and intuition. People that you can be too driven, you can be too pushy and stuff like that. That's seen as more of a masculine kind of thing. You need to know when to push and when to soften. You need to know when to flow with stuff and when to be direct about stuff. This entire world is more about pushing and being direct, and we need to bring more of that softness into everything that we do and going with the flow. We need to lead more with the heart and the gut than with the head. Magic flows naturally when inner polarity is aligned. You don't fight yourself energetically. So your intuition is backing what you want to do and how you're going to go about acting in accord afterwards, rather than just forcing this thing because you demand it. The whole demanding is more of a masculine kind of quality, the darker masculine. And we want to embody the feminine aspects of embracing and welcoming. See how one is projective and one is receptive, as I talked about earlier. This also supports relational health. People respond to balanced energy more positively. I've worked in customer service for a really, really long time, and getting grumpy with customers definitely does not help, does it? When you have somebody coming at you with negative energy, you can match that negative energy and then you're both in a fight. But I remember reading where, like, if someone is being reactive, the person who wins is the one that does not move in the stillness. You have trees in the wind. They might move a little bit, but those trees are standing strong in that strong wind, right? So, get into some heart-opening practices. So you can even sit there and you can see your heart expanding, radiating light, receiving the goddess's energy and reflecting it outward. So you can visualize your perception of the goddess in front of you and open yourself up to that. Remember, what is it? Where intention goes, energy flows. And as above, so below, as within, so without, like attracts like. Visualizing these kinds of things says to the universe that you're calling in that kind of energy, and that you want to cultivate that kind of thing more. Even a journal prompt. What parts of myself need forgiveness and compassion? There's probably plenty of things, because I know it's plenty of things on my list that I've done that I have a hard time forgiving myself for. Even people I have a hard time forgiving, right? Looks like she's going to make an exit. And releasing that energy and releasing the grudges that you hold on people and things like that frees up more energy for positivity and compassion. If you want positivity in your life, you got to be willing to give it. I think we're going to get into that later. So, a ritual idea: offer gratitude and love to the goddess for guidance and support. And also doing this on a regular basis, whatever your goddess persuasion is. You're calling in that energy to be present with you again and again and again and again if you do regular offerings and regular devotionals and regular prayers toward a particular deity, and of course, or a particular archetype or idea. And of course, in this series, we're talking about working with the goddess. So this opens blocked emotional channels, allowing energy to circulate freely, increasing the potency of your spells. In the Kara tradition, we have the concept of hucha. Hucha is heavy energy. It's not energy to them is neither positive or negative. It's either light or heavy. And when we have heavy energy, it's like baggage or gunk that's on us, or gunk in a pipe. And when from like anger and guilt and other negative emotions, when we learn to have compassion and love for that kind of stuff, that frees the gunk in the pipe. It cleans the energy up. Then we have more capacity to flow newly creative energy for actually creating and manifesting the different things that we want to. So let's see. My next point. There's a little sidebar side note. Hang on a second. So you can embody these kinds of things and practice releasing this kind of stuff through breath work, through meditation, stuff like that. Healing relationships through the goddess. Working with the goddess softens resentment, jealousy, and fear in existing relationships. So, love is magnetism, not control. The divine feminine teaches harmony without manipulation. When we love somebody, you got to love them enough to let them go. You got to love them enough to support them. They are not just going to be that perfect pictured person in your mind. They will change. They will grow. And whether or not you grow with them, arguably, is a level of your acceptance and compassion for them. Because even, no partner, no parent, whatever, is perfect. and nobody's perfect. And having compassion in you when somebody screws up is what is going to maintain that relationship. Of course, you can forgive too much when somebody blows over your boundaries, but goddesses also have strong boundaries too. So this also applies to ancestral healing, like I was talking about parents and stuff. Offering compassion to family lineages releases karmic energy that can enhance your personal magic. Why? Because it's, once again, it's like releasing huja and releasing attachments and other things that have been encoded into your energetic system from your ancestors. So compassion also helps to release those kinds of things. Compassion transforms energy, like grief, anger, or pain can be transmuted into insight, clarity, or intention, rather than, oh, I went through this thing and it sucked and my life sucks now. What did you learn from it, right? Goddesses show how suffering can fuel empowerment without creating karmic backlash. Look at Inanna. She got killed and she came back to life, right? That's suffering and then empowerment. Spells cast from a heart of compassion carry a high frequency vibration, making them resilient and aligned with universal flow. So if you want to create something or you want to benefit yourself or benefit other people, fuel it with compassion. Compassionate magic resonates with collective consciousness. It can ripple outward in ways forceful magic cannot. Remember, when you force something, you're pushing it, right? But even when you're talking to somebody, you're pushing it. What about if you're being compassionate with somebody? Are they much more receptive? That kind of energy flows better. Now we're talking union with the divine. Beyond the self and others, the goddess guides connection to cosmic currents. Her energy flows through you as guidance, inspiration, and authority. So this means strengthened intuition, spiritual authority, and confidence in your magical work. When you align yourself with the goddess, you're aligning yourself with transformation. What do we all want to use magic for? To change something. Transformation. Not just the outside stuff. And I always hammer this. Magic isn't just about changing your outside circumstances. It's about changing your inside circumstances too. So practitioners often talk about experiencing a sense of being held by a vast presence, which stabilizes even high-intensity magic. So the goddess is a container. If you think about it like the Holy Spirit slash divine feminine mentioned in the Old Testament, the Shekinah, that word literally means like a vessel. So the goddess holds you in your capacity. And even when you're getting really, really highly emotional with something that you want, or when you're going through a high emotional experience, whether it's inside of a ritual or outside of it, invoking the divine feminine can help you be in a container where you can process those emotions and process that energy, whether it's just a process through them because you're having a bad day, or process through them because you are done with the situation and you're doing magic to make something different and make something better. Sacred reciprocity. This is the Aini stuff in the Kara tradition. Union is not one-sided. The goddess works through exchange. You give your devotion, offerings, love, attention, and you receive guidance, inspiration, and protection. So it deepens your spiritual practice, cultivating both receptivity and active participation. Start building a relationship with a goddess of your choice, making daily prayers, offerings, devotionals, and things like that. You can write them yourself. You can have an AI do it. You can look up different prayers and recite those. I mean, we have books on Inanna. We have books on Isis. We have a Hecate book somewhere. There's tons of resources out there for how to build a relationship with the divine feminine. Reciprocity is a cornerstone of all relationships, including human, spirit, and divine connections. That's why I've been leaning on this point in my channel for a long time now. Working with spirits isn't just hiring a plumber to fix your stuff. It's building a relationship, like the new cat that I have, which I'm going to bug her again. It's a mutual relationship. I give pets, she gives cuddles when she wants to. Right now, she thinks the pillows are better than I am. Oh, I'm going to get her laying on my leg. Thank you. All right. So, practical and experimental suggestions. Heart-centered meditation. Expand your chest, visualizing light flowing through every cell, then sending it outward, regardless of where it goes, or you can send it to someone else. So, some journal prompts. Where am I holding back love? How can I show compassion to myself and others today? In what ways does the goddess guide me in my relationships? Ponder these things. So here's a ritual for you. Write a gratitude letter to the goddess and release it by burning it, putting it in water, or burying it, symbolically giving love and receiving her blessings. So this is another way of connecting with the divine feminine. So here's an optional physical element, pairing a meditation with gentle touch or movement. Hands over your heart, your belly, or your sacral center to embody the union of love and energy. So really feeling that. So once your heart's open and union has begun within you, the goddess reveals her fiercer side, her power to protect, set boundaries, and to teach courage. In our next episode, we'll explore the fierce and protective aspects of the goddess, because, she's multifaceted. So we'll get into that next time. So think of a moment when you experienced unconditional love or deep compassion. How did it affect your energy, your choices, how you felt that day? Think of when these kinds of aspects of the divine feminine came into your life. Do a journal about them and let me know in the comments. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Good hunting.